Hi everyone, welcome back to Asian Business Owners. This is the second time I'm sitting down with today's guest. We are at L'Envol, in the private room of L'Envol. The first conversation was about building ambition, discipline, Michelin stars, and high standards. And this episode is about what happens after. So my guest is a multi-Michelin star chef, Olivier Elzer. Beyond the stars, his journey raises a big question. How do you keep excellence, creativity, and sense of reality alive while running multiple businesses and leading teams? In this follow-up conversation, we'll talk about growth, pressure, leadership, and the cost of building at a high level. Hi, Olivier.
Hi, Carmen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you on this Friday morning?
Thanks to having me again.
My pleasure. It's good to catch up after a year and a half.
Yeah, it's about that.
So?
And a couple of more of gray hair.
Yeah, me too. So before we talk about your business expansion, because you expanded in China, in Thailand, and
Yep.
we'll have time to talk about this. I would like to go back to something fundamental, cooking,
Yep.
which is your passion. Cooking is often described as a calling, a passion, and the desire to share something with others. So when you look back today, do you think cooking gave you what kept you in this path for so long?
What I like in your question is that as often I say, I'm born as a chef and I will die as a chef. And to go back to the point of cooking, I think as I grew up in a very positive and very close to nature, childhood, where for me cooking become almost an evidence. My family has a strong background in hospitality. I was raised on the countryside of France, in contact with Mother Nature, cows, farms, vegetables. I love to eat. My family has a very strong, passion for food in general. So I think the beginning root very strongly, the passion who comes after.
Does that still drive you today? Because now you are a chef, but also an entrepreneur. You're not only a chef.
Yes.
So does cooking is still something burning inside you?
I think the passion is always there.
Okay.
What has changed is I'm cooking more with my brain than only with my physical hands.
With your hands.
Exactly. So I think this has changed, yes. But as I say to my clients, I've been cooking for 30 years. So I don't feel bad about cooking with my brain now because, when you've been doing something for 30 years, I think it's fair to say that I have give my due. No, I think I love to create dishes. I love to create concepts. I love to create, recipe. And of course, sometimes I miss to spend more hours just purely cooking, with no noise, no phone. But I think it's another stage of my life that I have to accept, which is part of growing. And that's why, to answer back to your question, the passion is still there. The cooking will is still there. And I think it's just an ongoing process where the relation with cooking is evolving, but at the end it's still there. Yes.
When was the last time you cooked?
I think 2 days ago. Yeah.
2 days ago?
And actually,
what did you make?
I think I was working on a dish with asparagus because we are now in the season of asparagus. So I was not happy with my chef about a dish, and so I was trying actually to show him how I will do it on my way. Yes.
Cool. So since last time we spoke, as I said, you expanded your business.
Yep.
And a year and a half ago, you were really transitioning from being a chef to being a chef entrepreneur.
Yep.
So how far have you expanded your business?
I think I had about 3 or 4 restaurants. I'm actually close to have now soon 10 restaurants.
Wow.
I will say at the end of this year, because I have some of them which are ongoing.
In Asia?
Yeah. So for example, Chiang Mai is a project will be open. I've been working on it for almost 8 months. We'll see, physically we'll be here in October. I believe October will be opening. So I think this shows you the process, how long it takes from thinking about the concept to delivering the product. So I will say that my consultancy branch has been done very well. I've been developing a lot of concepts in Vietnam, in China.
What concept?
For example, I have taken over the Puli Hotel in Shanghai, which is a beautiful hotel. It's a luxury 5-star hotel with a very unique style, urban city style. And we are working now on transforming actually the French restaurant to something a bit more vibrant, which is a different feeling, a different concept. And this is one example of what I do. So I think the consultancy branch is been doing very well. And of course I'm adding also my investment in Japan, which hopefully I have moved it for 1 year, will finally come to an end, hopefully this month or max next month. And this also, it's something I'm feeling very excited about it, because it's a bit different than running a consultancy model, because it's a self-owning, opening, more scalable restaurant, which is a totally different animals than consultancy with the hotels or management, as I did in the past, or I still do. Yeah.
Okay, but you expanded pretty fast, because a year and a half ago is nothing.
Yeah.
And now you have around 10 restaurants.
Well, I think the demand is big. I'm gonna be honest. I have my brand, I have my name in this industry, and I will say that a lot of restaurant hotel management needs help to establishing better restaurant. So there are two type of model. I always like to call them white canvas or broken canvas. A broken canvas is a restaurant who is already running, who is not successful, that the hotel wants to keep, and I will take over to integrate a new software, which is my software, my menu, my concept, my team. So this is what I call a broken canvas. A white canvas is Shanghai. It's a project which is not built yet, and we're starting from scratch. And I still work on ownership where I put this in place. The Japanese project is more, I will say, the evolved version of Clarence, where I'm trying.
Just for people, Clarence is a restaurant you have in Hong Kong.
Correct, yes. Clarence is my first self-owning restaurant with shareholders, which I run fully by myself with my team, where obviously the idea was to learn how to face all the difficulty that you can have when you really run your own business. So the Japan project, it's actually the evolving version of Clarence. Being running Clarence for 4 years as a chef and entrepreneur, I'm building a more versatile, more ROI return and duplicable restaurant, which will be actually in Japan, starting with Japan, and then I will try to franchise in Asia. So that's
because I remember last time we spoke, we talked about Clarence.
Yes.
And you told me that you had to rethink a lot of things about this restaurant to make it really successful. So when you talk about broken canvas, I'm just thinking, when a restaurant or a hotel needs your help to revamp their restaurant to make it successful, I guess every time it's different, different project, different country. But what's the recipe? What's the secret formula to make a restaurant successful?
I think the recipe is to do baby step for each of them. And what I call baby step is to understand one by one the problem or the issue we're facing, to try to solve them step by step. You're talking about Clarence, for example. I can almost tell you that I'm my third or fourth version of Clarence in terms of reshuffling. Why? Because the market is changing so much. I have opened Clarence 4 years ago during COVID, where people were spending crazy. I had 1 month of waiting list. Then after COVID, it became people want to spend less, they drink less, and now we are coming to an era where people or they go for fine dining like L'Envol, where they have no problem to spend, or they want value for money. So that's even though another business model. So for the example of Clarence or different restaurant that I take over, you have definitely to try and to understand what people want and what they need, and you go from there.
Okay. And since you expanded so much, have you changed how you operate? Have you optimized that?
I have surrounded myself with more people, for sure. I think that's the first things I notice. I have more people around me who are helping me to taking care of those different.
They're experts in their domains.
Quite, yes.
Yeah.
So I have an expert in service, I have an expert
Okay.
in the kitchen, I have an expert in pastry,
Okay.
finance. So I will say that my collaboration with more people is quite
Okay.
obvious. Of course, I try to scale my time as well. Time is the most valuable asset we have. So I think it's important to make sure that I try to stay centered and also focus, which is very important. Having more people is helping a lot for that.
And since last time, how have you changed? You were a leader a year and a half ago. You're still a leader now and decision maker. But are you the same type of leader today?
I think I've been.
What have you learned?
I think I've been humbled.
Okay.
I think I've been humbled a lot. I think being an entrepreneur is eating a humble pie every day,
Yeah.
where you can face bankruptcy, you can face anxiety, you can face a lot of mixed feeling that you need to get through. I think when you have an anxiety panic or when you have, like very strong feeling, it's actually the beginning of the journey. It's not the middle of the process. So you think that it's going to be the end of your life, but actually no, it's just the beginning of the story. So I will say that what I have learned during that time is to be humble and to really carefully think about everything humbly, because I think I like to say that before the Olivier will have spent way more money in, for example, in investing in a restaurant, in terms of look, in terms of concept, in terms of material, where now I will almost think about spending the least as I can to saving every single dime to make sure that we are not struggling the numbers, because at the end of the day, more ego you put in spending, more you're gonna have to perform, more you have to perform, more you get under pressure. And this process humbles you very much to carefully thinking about spending when you have to spend.
Do you have another example of a specific situation where you had to, that was humbling for you?
I think it's an ongoing process, which I have still so much to learn. So I think for me, I cannot really give you one example, but I think, I've been centering everyone for 30 years when I cook. My strength is cooking, and when I cook is where I put people at the table, and then I showcase what I know and what I do. When you do business, it's a new game for me. It's a new playground.
Yeah.
And when I used to be an apprenti, which is a young commie cook, when you start, you make some mistake. So as an entrepreneur, you also make some mistake.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit frightening and scary sometimes to have to start again, even though it's not exactly starting again, because I still have my 30 years experience as a chef. But it's obvious that I'm trying to learn fast, and I think it's very interesting to have to restart the process to become to learning again and to try to find your way around there.
Was that the aspect that was most uncomfortable for you from transitioning? Because also your identity changed from being a chef to a chef entrepreneur.
I think in any relationship, when you evolve, it's a good and non-good feeling, I will say. Like when I say on-good, is like when you grow, you have an incomfort feeling somehow, because you're getting out of your routine, you're getting out of your comfort zone. So this process makes you feel uncomfortable, and then you grow. So I will say that sometimes it's a bit scary, or it's a bit weird to get you out of that. But when you look back, it's worth, and you realize that actually you've been doing quite a lot. And sometimes my meditation helps me to center myself, to think about looking back and to see where you come from and where you've been going, and then you can see the progress. And when you see progress, then you feel more positive about it, and you know that you're on the right path.
I think you have to learn to love to enjoy being uncomfortable.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And when you start, you're like, oh my God, there's this problem to fix. it's so uncomfortable. But then you quickly learn that you will have so many more problems to fix.
Yes.
And that will be your day-to-day.
Yeah, I think, for me, I try to don't think about the problem of tomorrow, and I try to really stay in the day. I think that's something also that I'm learning recently. I think, if you want to be good with people, you have to be good with yourself first. And I think you need to be good in your shoes first. And only then you can become good with other people. And I think for me, it's something I understand recently, where it's very important to stay, more quiet, speaking. I've been helped with this with my dear friends. But obviously, it's important to stay centered, to see clear, and to make the right decision.
Okay. And you were talking about your teams, that you learn to surround yourself with the right people, with experts that can really make your business move forward.
Yeah.
So, and also knowing that in what you do, it's really high, you have really high standards. So how do you choose the people that you work with? Obviously experience, but there's more than that, right?
Yeah, I think I want to tell you that it's never easy to find the right people, because you mentioned the right people. I think when you hire someone, yes, the wish or the will is to hire the right people. But the reality is that because your process is an ongoing process who is evolving all the time, someone who is right today will not be right tomorrow. So finding the right people is very difficult. So I will say that I will say, of course, I use my surrounding and the people which I already work with to try to acknowledge with them about who could be nice as an addition in the team. And I try to, I really try to ask different, like advice or feeling of my team. Yeah, perspective to make sure that we feel all well together. Because for me, I like the idea meritocracy, which for me it's more like something that I think it's something I like, where I think it's not one entrepreneur or one founder who should take the decision, but it's more like a board of people who have a certain smartness and certain level of expertise who can actually decide together. And I think for me, as an entrepreneur, I'm not afraid to say that I like to have people who are smarter than me, where we decide together instead of just me deciding. And it's not that I'm scared to decide. Well, if I need to decide, I decide. But the point is, I think for me, sometimes you need to see a decision to a different angle. And I think that's important.
Again, the humbling part of it.
The humble pie.
Would your answer would have been different a year and a half ago about choosing who you work with?
Yeah, I think for sure, because 100%, yeah. Because you choose path, and those paths open you doors and close some others. So I believe that there are some opportunity who comes, some people who comes to your life, and some opportunities you seize and some you don't. And also I think it's important to grow, it's important to have more people around yourself, but it's also important to don't grow too fast, because for my case, as you say before, yesterday I didn't have that much restaurant, I have more now. The danger of going too fast can bring you also to a certain amount of stress, where if you don't have the right people, you need to start again and again, and this can be a painful process as well.
And I'm just thinking also about the team spirit and the people you work with. I guess when you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, because also all these people have a job thanks to you, so it's a big responsibility. And also you don't want all the decisions to fall on you. Otherwise, you feel like it's your fault if something goes wrong, right?
I have to say on this that I don't feel bad about that, honestly. Like, for example, I'm very happy to build a lot of wealth for a lot of jobs for people. But I also know that if I screw up my business, tomorrow I can be me, myself, and I, And unfortunately, everyone will be gone. Do I will be happy about it? 100% no. But the reality is that it's part of the game. And when you do business, when you go to the stock markets, when you invest on the stock, If you lose, you're not gonna go see the broker and say, hey, you pay me back because the stock didn't go well. Right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, for entrepreneurs, the same. When you do a business, of course, the idea is to get bigger. The idea is to surround yourself with people that can grow with you. But at the end of the day, if the business doesn't sustain, it can go south very quick as well. So I think there's a balance between, yes, of course, I know that I am accountable and I know that I have a responsibility and I have to make sure that, of course, I want to secure the most longer my relationship with all the people I work with, because that's the real issue I have. If you lose tomorrow those relationships, you need to start again.
Yeah.
And this process makes you lose time in your development. And that's, for me, a bigger problem. Okay. So I think that's definitely my concern here.
And now talking about Hong Kong specifically, we know that, well, since COVID, it's been tough and it's still can be difficult, like economically. And also the F&B scene here is very tough. You know it well. The high rent, I guess also the customers are very demanding. They have high expectations. It's a difficult market. So what do you think people still underestimate about not only building and starting a restaurant, but keeping it alive? Because this is the challenge in Hong Kong. When you walk around the city, you see new restaurants popping up every month, and then they close down and a new place starts. So how do you maintain it over time?
As much as I love to focus on Hong Kong, since I had the chance to travel a bit, I realized that it's not only connected to Hong Kong. I think, first of all, the world is in a very much difficult place than before. It's not Hong Kong only, it's the whole world. I have the chance to have a couple of restaurants in Asia, and I can tell you that in Bangkok is as hard as in Hong Kong. Okay. Singapore is not doing that great as well. Yeah. And I think it's a reshuffle time. We had 80 years of prosperity. We're getting to more challenging time. And I think for me that we have to accept in which era we live, and we have to face the difficulty who comes with it, and we just have to make it work. Going back to Hong Kong, I think Hong Kong, we are lucky to be in Hong Kong because Hong Kong, it's still a great place. It's somewhere, I will say, it's a part of the world that I'm happy to be. Where, yes, I agree with you, it's the real estate is very expensive. And there are some obviously high expenses on the P&L when you talk about Hong Kong for F&B. But I think they are manageable also in the way that if you look at Taiwan, where I have a restaurant versus Hong Kong, people spend way more in Hong Kong than they spend in Taiwan, for example. So if you bring out the ratio, what you need to find is to find the sweet spot between your staff, between your expenses. Going back to Hong Kong and the evolving version of Hong Kong, because being here for 18 years, obviously I have seen a lot of Hong Kong, or at least a couple of Hong Kong who has changed a lot. I will say that a business model who was working yesterday is no more working today. Yeah. But that's part of the process everywhere. Yeah. And I think you need to accept this transformation. And for example, Clarence is, why I keep reshuffling Clarence is because this is what Hong Kong wants and what Hong Kong is, or any place is, which is the demand is changing, the wish of the people is changing, the demography of people are changing. And that makes that, you have to adapt no matter what, that you're in Hong Kong, in Bangkok. And that's why I think I see it a bit more broader, where, yes, those are global issues we have here.
And also preparing this episode, I've been thinking about, F&B in general, not only in Hong Kong. This question was not planned. I'm just thinking about it. But French cuisine and just high standard Michelin-Starred restaurant became very trending, especially on social media. Yeah. Now you have so many shows about cooking in France, but everywhere else. For restaurants, having social media, Western platforms, also Chinese social media, is so important. And we can see that it's really something that became digital. So this, but also the fact that, as you said, the market is tough everywhere. Economically, things go so fast now. What's trending today is already
Gone.
dead, you know, it's the train of tomorrow. So how to deal with this, and how to, I feel like we need to always offer something different, something new. How to deal with that?
You know, my dream is to open a restaurant where you don't need marketing. And when I say no need marketing is because I feel you and I agree with you that that's the world we're living. But I also feel that if your concept is offering something at the right positioning, at the right quality of standards, actually sometimes you don't need all this ecosystem. And I think to go back to Hong Kong, I will even globally put that yesterday people could have opened a restaurant in Hong Kong who could have not been that professional or ready to run that shop and could have survived. In the day of today, it's not feasible anymore. They will be dying already. So what it tells me, and going back to humbling, is that we have to approach very humbly the markets of trying to acknowledge what are the issues and what are the difficulty of the markets to try to be even more sharp and to offer even a sharper business model to this market. So if you consider all this together, then you get maybe something more successful or more easy to mold in this world or in this place of the world. So that's why I feel that it's, again, an ongoing process where you have to put all the criteria of the moment. One issue I can see in F&B is that young people doesn't enjoy as much as the people who are 40 plus to go to the restaurant, to have a good bottle of wine, to sit for 2 hours. I can see that F&B can have a big problem with the younger generation who likes to, everything has to go quick. Everything, ordering wine is almost for old people. Eating 2 hours at the table or an hour, it's like impossible. So I think you have to see it in two ways. Or we take it straight and we are like, we don't want that type of clients, but that's going to be your client tomorrow. So what do we do to attract the younger generation to our restaurant again? So I think this is something that we have to ask ourselves, and we have to work on this question. And for me, or you avoid it and you will pay the consequences, or you try to understand and to try to find something interesting for them, and then you make them come to your store. So I think all this are changing. It's always been like this with different generations, but those are criteria who makes your restaurant or your business more successful or not.
That's a very interesting question, because it's true that now the younger generations, I don't want to say they are all like that, but the majority of them, it's true that even the content they consume is shorter. Their attention span is very short.
Yes.
So that's a very interesting talk especially for restaurants like L'Envol, for example. When you come here, how long do you stay here for?
2 hours in average.
2 hours.
2 hours in average.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what would be the solution then?
First of all, I think to being 30 years in fine dining at the highest level, I can tell you that I feel that the fine dining level will evolve in a very smaller size of shops, for example. L'Envol, it's almost 7 years old now, and it's already a big fine dining. Like it's a 50-seater, which before would be an average or middle-sized restaurant, where now in those economic circumstances will be seen as a big shop with a big turnover, with a big amount of staff, where tomorrow I can see that the fine dining will be more for like 10 to 15 people, and the team will be based accordingly to that. So if I will have to do it again, I will do it more in this aspect. And not because I want less clients, it's because if you want to make sure that you can control your quality, your costs, your ROI, you obviously need to definitely focus on not taking too much risk. And for example, I believe that in the era we're living now, big restaurants are actually almost over. I don't see big restaurants still succeeding in Western food. And I think people like more smaller restaurants, conceptual, very strong, with strong identity. I think this is what people want more than just a huge restaurant who can be offering big offers.
Interesting. You can do fine dining, but also different businesses. So in the future, what are the plans? Are you planning on keep developing also other types of businesses?
Yeah.
Keep opening new restaurants?
I think for me, I like to cut it by division now. My consultancy branch is doing very well, and I definitely have no ceiling for that. So now I have 9 restaurants in consultancy, 1 self-owning. So I can say that maybe one day I will have 50 restaurants as a consultant. My self-owning restaurant and franchise model, it's something I really want to work on, and that's why Japan is coming. And obviously what I've learned for the last 4 years with Clarence has helped me a lot to understand what I should do, what I should focus on. And of course, the latest one will be a bit a later stage, is to create a school where I can also give back a little bit to younger generation. But this will come into a later stage where for me, to some point, when I will be enough mature in my entrepreneurship, I will try to give it back and to give to young chefs or younger generation to make sure that we pass the knowledge and we pass what I have learned.
That's cool. It seems like since last time, your business is more structured.
Yes.
You were probably more in the exploration phase.
Yeah.
Last time we talked, and now it seems like it's super clear in your mind, right?
Yes. I think it's, as I say, it's an ongoing process where you need to explore. You need to see where you want to put your time at, and then you need to also face the reality of is it feasible? For example, when I say that I want to do 50 consultancy, the question or the answer I don't have yet is it possible for me to do it with the time that I can allow for that, and also doing something else on the side? Because I think for me, as time is the most important asset for us, I need to make sure that the yield that I'm spending on my consultancy is worth the yield of my time for how much I spend time on it. And the point is for me to scale that. It's very important. And how I try to scale is to find a system who can run this aspect of it. And if you find the right system to run more consultancy with less time or least time for me, then I can see a path of growth where I can grow up. Obviously, if I always have to be involved and it takes too much of my time, then it's a dead end. And then I call this noise. And unfortunately, I will not keep going for that. But I have good hope that I can find actually a way how to find a system, to build a system to develop more consultancy as a self-owning restaurant.
So I have one last question for you.
Sure.
So last time, the signature question of the podcast that I asked you last time was, what lessons have you learned as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? But I've already asked you that question. So I will ask you now, what's the lesson that you have learned since last time we spoke?
Okay, let's go for this one. I think noise, you need to be careful with noise. And what I call noise is when you go to this pool as an entrepreneur for my life, as a chef, you have a lot of opportunities facing yourself. You have a lot of people who want to talk to you. And you need to be careful that it's not becoming too much noise. And noise makes you lose time, because noise for me is a dead end where you allocate some time for someone or a situation that at the end is a dead end. And I think for me, I really try now to be careful on don't losing too much time with noise, because it can be very draining. It can be draining. I don't seem like, but I'm an empathic guy. I have empathy. And of course, sometimes you want to be nice, or you don't want to shut off the situation, the talk, or you know what's going on. But I think saying no, it's sometimes important, because the no cuts you the noise, and cut your noise makes you win time. So I think this will be my
optimizing
your
time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Learning to say no.
Yes.
Difficult for many people, but yeah. Thank you.
Exactly. Merci, Carmen.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Follow-up conversation. I think we really see the evolution.
How was it, Agnès? Okay. Let me know. Huh?